I think it's always important to focus, right? There are so many opportunities where a community or a region, in fact, can be effective and successful, and for that matter, innovative for sure. But the key here is to make sure that you bring all your resources to bear, and in particularly focused areas in order to maximize the impact. And the other reality is that you can't be everything to everybody. And yet, often people try. And so, in fact, to really have impact and to really make a difference, I think the key is to actually focus. Well, the value of the Concert Initiative is that, in fact, around the table, you have all the key players in this sector, and that's really important, too. So you've got the folks who are driving the industry, others who are really the creative thinkers in the community, and they're all around the table and bringing a common perspective to the challenge that we're confronting. So you've got the benefit of the talent and the intellect and a common purpose, which is, in fact, to put together a strategic approach to how to really drive innovation and therefore economic benefit for Ontario, for Toronto, for the Greater Toronto area, in a key sector where we know we have good, strong capability and the opportunity to make a difference. The Ontario Centres of Excellence, in fact, is an organization that plays right at the heart of these communities that you've mentioned. In fact, our modus operandi is to bring together the business community with the academic community and government in ways that will enable the development of new innovations and technologies and their commercialization. And you need these three parties at the table because they're critical elements to the equation. It's industry that is the focus, in a sense that we're trying to make sure that our companies in this region can be globally competitive. So what is it that will make a difference for these companies and their bottom line in terms of technology and innovation that will really take them to the next level? So they're, in a sense, the problem identifiers. And then you turn to the academic researchers around Ontario, and we've got fabulous researchers, and they're the problem solvers. So if you can marry up the problem identifiers and the problem solvers, along with the folks, those in government who in fact are developing strategies, a framework in which industry can operate, you bring all the elements to the table. That's the recipe for success. So I think that the reality is that if any of these parties try to go it alone, they'll never be as successful as the benefits that you can really achieve when you bring them all together. One of the challenges is that the culture of business is oftentimes different from the culture of the academic world. So the first challenge, in fact, is to get these two critical parties that have to work together to actually understand each other, begin to speak the same language in order to enable that interface actually to be effective. So that's one piece of the equation. The other, of course, is to get both sides to understand the other's modus operandi and how they can actually work together to produce the result. So key piece of it is the ability to establish a culture and a language that enables the equation to work. Secondly, I think it's important to ensure that you can invest enough to enable the initiative to take place. So that's where an organization like the Ontario Centres of Excellence can add value, because we're in fact funded to enable these parties to come together, identify the challenges on the technology front which need to be addressed, identify who in the research community can really bring the best intellect to the problem at hand, and then we're able to, in fact, enable that process to take place by sharing the cost with our industry partners to enable that research to be done. And at the same time, and a really important piece of this too, is to be thinking about helping to develop that next generation of innovators and entrepreneurs. So for all the research projects that we fund, we in fact ensure that those principal investigators, great profs at universities, colleges around Ontario, are in fact engaging their very best students in these projects. And it's all about strengthening the skill set, the research skill set for sure, of these students, but at the same time enabling them to become much more aware of the challenges that industry face and how they, as researchers, can make a difference in solving those problems. So it's an interesting complexity that that's critical to advancing the agenda in Ontario, And we're fortunate in OCE to find ourselves at the heart of that and with the opportunity to actually make a difference, to make it work. Our own institutions around Ontario are populated with researchers from all around the world. So we start already with a strong base in that sense. But OCE also has a number of international programs where we are in fact enabling research collaborations between professors and students based in Ontario institutions with counterparts all around the world. And so in fact, through our programs, we tend to be a facilitator of those kinds of connections. So we end up with quite an international portfolio, both in terms of who we work with right here in Ontario and who are part of our network, which individuals make up our network around the world. This whole area of digital media, support for the creative sector, is really critical. And furthermore, we've got remarkable resources here in Ontario. The key, of course, is to galvanize them, bring them together in collaborative partnerships to really drive the agenda forward. So again, CONCERT is one of those vehicles that does it, because through the infrastructure that you and others have put in place, the players are all at the table. Right? First and foremost, that's critically important. It also is the opportunity, in fact, to look at the breadth of the sector, because when you think about the creative sector, or digital media in particular, it includes so many dimensions, right? Just defining it can be challenging. So it brings together the software community, the hardware community, the players, the broadcasters, everybody in there, the film industry. So it's a complicated and complex community. So CONCERT provides, if you like, a central point where all of those players can come together in an environment which is conducive to encouraging them to work together, be collaborative, and really make the advances that will position the GTA and Ontario as a world player in this area. The only thing I'd like to add is that OCE is really proud to be part of this initiative. We have a long history in OCE of being at the center of the innovation agenda in Ontario, really through driving economic advance in Ontario by enabling the development of new technologies and ensuring that they're successfully commercialized. The CONCERT initiative is exactly that kind of challenge. So the opportunity for OCE to be at the table, to help realize the potential of the CONCERT initiative, and more importantly, to help, in fact, realize the potential of the digital media and creative sector to drive economic prosperity for Ontario is terrific. So it's that opportunity that I think we're most happy with. And in the end, we're hoping that this will be a successful initiative, because this is one of those areas where we have remarkable skills and companies and researchers in this area, in the Greater Toronto Area and in Ontario. And if we can galvanize these folks to do the kinds of things which we know are possible, I promise you that will position Ontario on the world stage in a critical sector, and a sector critical to the economy of Ontario.